another episode of Create. It's all about art. Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 of a Create show. Today, we are joined by Jolanta, who is an RTT therapist and also an artist, and she found her very special gift twice in her life. Let's start from the beginning and asking her, first of all, to introduce herself. So, hello, Jolanta. Jolanta was conducting a very busy life in Australia, and when everything was going, very busily, and then COVID-19 happened, and something really changed in her life. So I wanted to talk about this because that's how art came into her life, but also wanted to go first to when she started to like art, when she was younger, and then we're gonna jump to the present. So you tell me, Jolanta, what happened when you were young and you discovered art for the first time?
Yes, well, thank you very much, Franz. I was living in New Zealand and I recall seeing my brother's art. So I was the youngest of 6 children and I had 4 brothers and my sister was the eldest. And 2 of my brothers were actually 3 of them were really good at art, but 2 in particular. And I used to see my brother's paintings and I was very intrigued with his style and colours. And it was when I used to be involved in a lot of music and singing and things like that, but never really tapped into art until I went to what we call high school or college. And I was about 14 when I started art classes, and then I found out I could do them in an exam. And I thought, wow, this is fun. You can do what you love and you can get marked for it. And I was very blessed that my art teacher really enjoyed my art and correlated it to a famous New Zealander called Toswell Williston, and felt I had his painterly style and boosted my morale. And yeah, I carried on doing it for the 2 years of study and passed and did well. And I also apparently did what's called pilgrim Polish art. So that's kind of like doodling, but in paint form. Yeah. So that's how I started back then.
Thank you. Well, that sounds brilliant. And also to have an art teacher who's actually supportive and not critical, and just telling you, oh, this is wrong, just letting you express yourself. This is something that I always found very positive in the life of young people who just want to see their potential. So that's great. And then we jump forward to many years after school, and you find yourself in a different place. What is going on? What's happening then?
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how many years after school is 51 minus 14. Anyway.
That's okay. We do not need all the maths. So here you are in a lovely age, and you're very,
Yes.
very busy. What's going on in your life then?
Well, I have a beautiful partner who was very supportive in the fact that I had a dream that I expressed, and it was to paint and to catch fish. Sorry for any vegans. In southern Italy, in the Amalfi Coast, because I visited there and I just was really spiritually drawn to the Amalfi Coast. And I sort of made a pact with myself that one day, if I had the opportunity, I'd live there for a year and paint and catch fish. And so I've often expressed my dreams to people and articulated out loud. Like, for example, sorry to diverse, but I threw a tambourine up in the air and caught it once, and I was doing a Fleetwood Mac tribute show. I was playing Stevie Nicks in a theatre where people paid $60 a ticket. And I caught the tambourine. I thought, oh my gosh, I remember watching the Partridge Family when I was little and wanting to get paid to play the tambourine. And it just sort of dawned on me. And so I guess it's no different than the painting. And so my partner, he said, look, you've got time on your hands now. Let's get some paints. So, yeah, that's how it started. about 9 weeks ago.
9 weeks ago. So that was during the quarantine. What happened to you when you were able to slow down and take some time to just have fun with art?
Well, as maybe everyone else has been feeling in some capacity, a little bit of fear or unsurety of the future because of this virus that has changed our lives as we know it, have known it. And basically, I wanted to be productive and creative and get paid for it without any stress. And then this opportunity presented itself in the form of paints and an easel and canvas, and acrylic paints is what I mainly use, but I use them in the style of an oil. That's where I apply them. And I just, my first painting was a seascape, and I put it on Facebook and I said, hey, look, I haven't picked up a brush in 30 odd years, and you don't have to like it, but what do you think? And I got such a good response, and it was really positive. And it was what I needed just to boost my morale, especially at the time of the unknown. And so I've escaped into my painting, and I do lots of flowers, and apparently I'm bringing lots of joy to people by painting flowers. Yay!
Yeah. So art as an escape, as a place of centering and being strong in the inner work. This is quite a thing. So it isn't just about being as good as Rembrandt, but just really expressing yourself and relaxing. So what kind of tip would you give to someone who wanted to learn how to relax using art and particularly painting? What would you suggest?
You know, there's that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. And I believe that people are, well, I know for myself, I was scared to commit the paint to the canvas because of what others might think. Once I got over that, and luckily or thankfully, I mean, this is the beautiful thing about art. There's no one style that everybody likes. You know, it's so personalized what people enjoy looking at. And the same as the artist, it's so personalized as to what you enjoy creating. So I guess I just took away any judgment from myself and therefore others, and decided that I'm going to enjoy it.
Yes, that's brilliant. That's what art is for, isn't it? And I seem to understand that you've been able to sell your paintings as well. What happened?
So there's a wonderful friend we have down the road, and I showed her my first painting and she loved it. And actually I had two. The second one was flowers, and she said, I'd like to buy that. And then she said, I need a few more paintings. So she basically commissioned me. And so I whipped them out. And for some reason, maybe it's what I choose to paint. I can't think of the word at the moment, but the whatever it is that I choose to paint seems to happen pretty quickly. So I can paint maybe 3 paintings a week, no problem, with lots of time to do things around the house and keep the family comfortable by, being a house executive, I guess, in a way. Yeah, but I have the luxury of being able to paint when I feel like it. And thankfully, what I choose to paint produces itself quickly. Well, it doesn't produce itself, but it gets produced pretty quickly.
I love that you just sit there and this, magic wand goes round and round and creates these beautiful strokes. And I'm just like, right, I've done it.
Well, Franz, to be honest, sometimes I pinch myself and I think, did someone actually buy something that the paint hasn't even dried and they've said, I want that? And that's what's happened. I put it on Facebook. any new paintings, or I've shown a couple of friends privately and they go, can you please send that to New Zealand? I want that. So how much is it? And some of them I've not actually wanted to give away, sell, I should say, because they mean so much to me. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to have to put a price on it that I believe is of value to me, that I'd be able to sell it for. And so it's not extravagant, it's affordable, but I had to do that to add value to myself as well. I just truly believe that even if you don't find yourself in a position financially where you're able to pick up a paintbrush or a camera or to look at karaoke singing or anything like that, if you don't think you are, I believe you are. I believe that if you choose to put time into it, wherever that time may be, you might be pleasantly surprised at what you can produce if you really tap into and believe in the gifts that you have inside you. Why live this one lifetime not doing what you want to?
Yes, never be afraid. That is great. And one last thing, I did see in your profile that you are also a singer, and that gets really well with the purpose of my podcast, which is to put together people who love art in all the forms, so dance, music, art, poetry, writing, everything. And just something small about singing. How do you feel when you sing? How does that have a place in your life and be balanced with the art and expressing who you are? Do you want to say something about it?
Sure. I mean, I've got to admit that I didn't start singing professionally until I was 27 years old. And again, it was timing. And so the beautiful thing about singing is making people happy. I was brought up with a lot of domestic violence with my father, and my beautiful mother was beaten for 25 years. And so my sister, who was 15 years older than me, and my mum, they were often upset about the awful things that were going on in our household. We had the police around a lot. We had a lot of blood, violence. It was awful, and death. And to make them laugh and make them happy by performing, I just knew that that was my calling, was to be a performer. And then one day I was dancing in my auntie's lounge, and there was not a lot of words of affirmation thrown around in the beginning of my life. And when I heard them, I hung on to them. So this beautiful opportunity when I was dancing in my auntie's lounge arose, where I heard two of my aunties saying, "Wow, Jolanta can dance." And so again, it reiterated, wow, maybe I need to look down this performance track. So I wanted to go to drama school. I didn't end up going. I got accepted into the Academy of Performing Arts in New Zealand in Christchurch, which is the South Island. It's a singing academy, not acting. So it was like I was fighting the fact that I could have been a singer, but I decided, no, I want to be an actress or an actor. So, I ended up on stage doing The Sound of Music, got the lead at a musical. Someone spotted me and said, would you like to join our show band or audition? So I did an Alanis Morissette song, and I used to do ABBA tributes, Fleetwood Mac tributes, the Beat Girls. We were the Beatle Girls, travelled around New Zealand and Australia in a show band full time. And then I started teaching singing and doing fundraisers for underprivileged kids with my singing students, using, a cafe or something where they could perform in front of their parents and friends and family. And we would do, friends of mine would donate who were in business, and we'd have prizes, they'd donate prizes, and would make good money for, underprivileged kids or someone who was in need in the community. So, that's that's the story behind me
That's
singing.
great.
It
I
was
love this.
basically
And I
bringing
love
joy to
also
people.
that you have no problem going from one form of art to the other form of art, and they both serve, let's say, different purpose. And you just threw yourself, and I'm just gonna try. You didn't stop and say, well, but I'm not good enough, it's too late, it's too early. You just did it. I guess that this is a good tip for whoever is listening. If you wanted to become, for example, a singer, maybe even part time, what would be the number one thing that you would suggest to do to become a singer, for example?
I would be realistic about the songs that you choose to learn and get comfortable with them. Because if you're choosing a song that's got two people singing in it, you can't do the voices of two people. So, find songs that, what I've actually found quite often is some of my singing students will resonate with a song that has a meaning that is attached to an emotion, that grabs them. And so therefore they're far more honest with and vulnerable with their delivery. And that's where actually it is a little bit like therapy with my singing lessons sometimes, because that vulnerability does come out. A lot of my students who are younger, they used to say to me, oh, when I first met you, I was intimidated by you. And I said, well, you're not anymore, are you? You've been skipping and running in here, and running, running in to see me, and how wonderful the transition is in a few weeks when you learn to trust somebody. So I went to a good singing teacher only for a few lessons, because I lost confidence in that Sound of Music show. The other girl who played Lisa was much better than me. So I decided to get singing lessons, and boy, was it valuable. Fantastic. I think, if a good teacher will boost your confidence, and that's what it comes down to. So the best tip I could give is, have a few lessons, even online, and I offer online lessons, no problem. And also pick songs that really do suit your voice or that you can relate to.
That's brilliant. Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Jolanta. It was so good to learn about the two forms of art. I wouldn't be surprised if you get the third one going soon. You're very eclectic. Oh, you
I
do?
do. Yeah. No, I think being, growing up quickly, and also, parenting my mum in lots of ways, I learned to be very mature at a very young age, and emotionally as well. And so I did write a lot of poetry. And when I was about 12, 13, it was about suicide, and so those thoughts go through your mind as a teenager. And so, it was published in the school magazine. It was called Suicide Thinker. And I was, I love to write, and poetry especially, but I'm just really blessed and grateful that I've had the opportunity to talk to someone like you, because I feel like you've brought out a spark in me, sort of realizing a few things. And like I said, I pinch myself the fact that I'm selling my paintings, because it's almost like it's too much fun. Having so much fun, and it's relaxing and enjoyable. And same with the singing. It's like, oh my God, it keeps you fit, and you get to meet cool people, and it's just all positive, really.
And don't we all need a very huge dose of positivity, not only now with this pandemic or whatever there is, but in normal life? Life is too short not to find out what your blueprint is and how to use this gift. And I think we all come to earth with some gift, at least one. Most of us have a lot more than one. And we have to take the time to discover the gift, because I think we can use the gift to bless the other people, and this in return is going to bless us. It's just going to come back. When the ripple effect, when you throw the stone into this very still lake, you see the little circles coming out, and then they touch a lot of other objects around, and they come back to you, these circles. And so I think when you do art, it comes back to you. You connect to a lot of people, to other artists, connect to beauty. You might connect to who knows what. And the same with music. I mean, you can really reach the whole world. And now with internet, you can have both. You can do productions, there are installations when you have sound, music, and art. When you walk inside them, there are massive things. So we can really make people have experience this emotion of living art. And I firmly believe in that. Art isn't just not something that we use. Everybody uses art every day without realizing. We all watch a movie, listen to music, buy some pictures, go to Pinterest, but we can also make that. And that's important. My message is that everyone can try, can enjoy, and not everyone will become a master, but the enjoyment is still the same, isn't it?
Exactly. And I love your analogy about the ripple effect. Beautiful.
Great. Well, I know that we all have things to do, so our time is up now, but thank you so much. And tell us before you go, where can we find you? Are you on Facebook somewhere? So if somebody wants to see your painting, of course, we're going to put a link, but is there a place where we find you?
Yeah, and I have to apologize in advance that my Instagram page has not yet has started for my art because 9-10 weeks ago, I think it was, I started painting, and that's an area I need to build up on. But you can find me on Facebook, Jolanta with a J, Jolanta, and you'll have the link anyway, Jolanta Paholic. So thank you very much, Franz.
And there will be lots of good things to look at. And I wish you all the best. I hope you sell, and especially that you really, really build your life every day with a good, positive, artistic vibe every day. And you are a good example of awakening the artist inside, which is the main theme of my own art movement, right? That's great. So thank you.
Don't stop yourself. Just do it. And that thing about judging yourself, it doesn't matter if you don't sell it. It doesn't matter, straight away or whatever. The fact that you're committing to something, that you're actually creating the opportunity with your God-given gift, like you said, or your gift.
And what I like is that you're passionate about it. You are going to keep using this. So I hope that our listeners have enjoyed themselves as much as we are doing by joining this community of artists, all levels, beginners, improvers, and anything in between. And then up to masters who are selling, they're doing thousands of pounds. I don't need to make millions out of my art, but as much as I can be happy, that's my whole purpose. And if anyone listening to this is interested in contacting Jolanta, please do so. If you want to share, subscribe, share with your friends, maybe you have a friend yourself who is listening to the podcast and wants to know more, or maybe he has never listened to any podcast and he wants to be encouraged about his art or singing, please give the link to this. So thank you very much, and up to...
Thank you.
Well, I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. You have listened to Create, the podcast. It's all about art.